In the beginning, there was light, there was a ray, there was gas, there was chemicals, and about 2,025 years later, millions, I don't really know how old the Earth is. I wasn't there when it began. The Sibling Ting were born.
You have no idea how many religions just respected you real quick and then quickly declined.
Oh, listen, no matter what, the Sibling Ting were born. We were made, and we were made to entertain. And that's what we're here. That's what we're going to do. So without further ado, my name is Jess the Mud. I'm not going to swear, I'm not allowed to. Jesse and I talk about football and darts.
Hi, I'm Carter. I'm a middle child. I'll be talking about boxing, UFC, and before we carry on, we're going to have to clip that. There's no way.
No, that's amazing.
We have to keep it. There's no way we can forget that, all right?
No, this just stays in. This stays in.
My name is Charlie, and I'm the oldest sister, and I talk about motorsports.
So we're going to go in to this podcast like how men went into war back in the day, the Anglo-Saxons with the Romans and that. But before we do have a catchphrase. No. I'm reading.
Did you say Roman Saxons?
Yeah, you did, yeah. What's a Roman Saxon?
I said Anglo-Saxons versus the Romans.
What do you mean the Saxons versus Romans anyway? What are you on about?
So we have a phrase we like to say, okay?
That didn't even happen, did it not?
All right. 3, 2, 1. Lights out and podcast on. Okay, so
I feel bad. We've got to give some correct scientific facts. Just
no. We re-roll with it, okay? Because this is what we're teaching the kids of the future, the history they need to know right now, okay? So
teaching them nothing.
So, speaking of Romans versus Anglo-Saxons, I'm sure back in the day, we also do have a dog here that's got the zoomies right now. Hey, yo. Someone's got the zoomies. So, like I was saying, Romans, Anglo-Saxons, I'm sure back in the day they used to fight. Do you know what I mean? Do you know who loves talking about fighting? Carter. Come on.
That was actually alright. That was actually quite good.
Thank you.
You got one for all of us.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Even though I do like talking about fighting, I don't have a lot on right now, so I might as well talk about the big matches coming up this year, as I do every episode. But this time, as I don't really have any matches coming on this weekend, I might as well just mention the ones that I've already mentioned. But refresh.
We'll
start off with Katie Holmes, Amanda Serrano, number 3 for the undisputed flyweight women's championship. I believe it's flyweight. As always, Charlie, you've not seen these two fight before, but these girls go at it. They give heart and soul into it. You know, Conor Ben. Chris Eubank.
Yeah.
Like that. Dimitri Bivol. Berbiev. You never watched that, did you?
No.
They put heart and soul into it. They really go for it. They really try and hurt each other. It's very, very impressive. So I can't wait for that. I believe Amanda Serrano lost one, and Kate and Drew, didn't they? Drew and then
I think it was the first one was a draw and the second one was a Katie Taylor win.
So realistically, what they'll probably do is, because it might earn some money and bring some money in, they'll probably fix it and have Amanda Serrano win, so then they can have a
surely
decider.
you can't fix it. That's so bad.
Most matches nowadays I've been watching thinking, it's fixed. Like Dimitri Bivol Berbiev, that was a fixed fight. I don't think U6 is just too good. You can't, if he goes to points, he just wins. But there are definitely some matches where you go, that was fixed nowadays. So I would say they're probably going to give it to Serrano, and then they can have a deciding match after that.
Yeah.
I don't know who else won. Dylan White is still not been confirmed of who he's fighting. I said last time, I'm going to stand by it. I reckon Derek Chisora will be the third fight.
When's Wilder fighting?
Again, non-confirmed, but I believe it was June 20th. Or at least I believe that was the date that was said to be he will be returning, but whether that's confirming or not, they haven't confirmed it, so whether they are actually doing that or not, it's hard to say. Maybe he should quit, maybe he should stay.
So what you're saying is, should he stay or should he
go now?
Is that what you're trying to say, Carl?
Copyright.
We did not sing it, I'm just simply saying the phrase.
But I don't know who else. We might as well just mention Daniel Dubois, Usyk for last. And Daniel Dubois is, I think, the next
No, you
big
didn't say it
heavyweight.
right. You didn't say it right.
Oh, Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois is the next good heavyweight, is next great heavyweight in the world, but he has to beat Usyk, and that's just not going to happen. So Usyk will probably finish with a perfect career, beat Dubois, probably beat Fury, and then retire with a fair bit of money.
A bit of dollar.
A bit of dollar.
I think
a
he
fair
can pay
little
his
bit.
gas and electric. I'm sure
Yeah,
he'll be alright.
and then Daniel Dubois will probably come through, get undisputed, and probably go from there. I think he's going to probably be the next big heavyweight. But yes, because realistically, who we got after this generation? Fury, AJ, Wilder, obviously
Me.
Usyk. Now they're all retiring soon. They're all getting older, which means they need a new bunch of heavyweight boxers coming in, and I think Daniel Dubois is the best out of all of them. So
You've got me coming up as well.
of course. Wow. Right.
I just say the dog just sneezed in your face. You got me. Wow. Sneezed on you to just
You
say, "As if."
disgusting boy.
Oh, you are so
Good
funny.
boy.
You are so funny.
You
Good
grim
boy.
You're
boy.
so funny.
You're lucky we're filming, otherwise you'd be dead right now. I'd kill you. I'll kill you. Is that all, Carl? No UFC or anything?
I mean, there are some UFC fighters coming up. UFC fights coming up. I'll just double check.
It's all right.
I
We're
don't
just
say.
fighting with the dog at
Yeah.
the minute because he's got
The zoomies.
post meal anger
Zoomies.
issues.
The zoomies. He's got the zoomies chart.
Wow.
Oh, get the
Oh my god!
What's he doing?
Hi, baby.
I like, just for recording, just for the fans at home,
Yeah.
I sit on the floor with
Come
my
here, Abby.
my back on the sofa.
Come here.
He is currently on the sofa, just going ham at the back of my neck.
I might as well mention UFC then if we're here. We've got Devashali versus Sean
Charlie
O'Malley.
versus Ghost going on
This
right
is
now.
definitely not how you say the name, so my apologies. I don't do UFC. I am
Yeah.
trying to though.
He's also very tired.
Who?
Carter.
I'm a little tired.
While
I'm
Carter
trying.
is currently listing the fights that are happening, he is currently fighting the demons of sleep, who are
Yeah.
coming to haunt him and take him down.
I'm physically fighting the demon that is my own dog.
UFC 317, we've got Tapiora versus Charles Oliveira. That is a good one. Oliveira is an absolute classic fighter. Is an absolute legend in the UFC game, and possibly one of the most humble ones I've ever seen.
You know he's still doing it.
Yeah, he's still doing it. He's old now. He's 35, but you know he's still at it. And Tapiora has never lost. And he's particularly good. So I don't know. It's experience versus youth, I suppose. It's hard to say who will win. I'm going to give it to Oliveira. I do think Tapiora will win, but I do want Oliveira to win, so I'm going to back him. 318, we have Poirier versus Holloway, which will be a particularly good match. After that, I'm pretty much just going to talk about John Jones and Aspinall. I think I heard something the other day about John Jones not confirming 100% his fighting because of some... I can't remember the reasons why he said he wasn't going to fight, but it's not been 100% confirmed, so I won't believe in it until I actually see him in the ring, in the octagon together.
You always
for
say
me-
this.
Yeah, well, I stand by it. If I don't believe it until I actually see him in the ring. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me then, guys. I'm all done for the boxing UFC. There's not much on for me this week, so I believe Charlie,
I mean...
you're gonna have to avoid fighting
whoa,
the dog
whoa,
for a second.
Let me pass this on.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, Jess.
At first there was fighting, yeah. The Saxons, the Romans, do you know what I'm saying? They used to fight, and Carter went into the fighting for us, yeah. But do you know what they used to do?
Horse and carts.
They used to ride horse and carts.
Nice.
The original form of transportation, and then it evolved over the years until it got so fast that they decided to race. And then there was a man called Mr. Ferrari.
Called Mr. Ferrari, yeah.
Was it Mr. Ferrari and Mr. McLaren?
Mr. McLaren, okay.
Was that the big rivalry back in the day?
I mean, they've had rivalries. I'll give it you. They have had rivalries.
So these people, they started fighting.
Right. Yeah.
But they settled it on the racetrack.
Right. Okay.
Take us away, Charlie.
Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
So this week we've had a pretty big week. We had Monaco. Now, I have always been dubious when it comes to Monaco. I will say I actually really enjoyed the race this week. It was, without question, boring as sin. There are no overtakes, and I understand why people do get annoyed with it. And funny enough, it was one of the races that Dad tried to watch with me again, because Dad is actually actively watching it at the minute with me. And we were watching it, and I will say there was so many issues with the fact that it basically was the exact same. There was no change and things like that. However, what I did really like was there was so much going on when it comes to strategy. Amazing. The way McLaren did it was brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Were they the best? I probably would argue no. No, as in strategy-wise, you shake your head all you want. Strategy-wise, I will say that it didn't do it the best, just because there were other teams that did undercut them, and realistically, they did it well enough that they won, but it still wasn't the best team on the grid who did strategy, I will say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, you are always under the impression that I'm just dragging down McLaren every single week.
You are.
I genuinely like McLaren. I am genuinely happy when Lando wins. That's not like me bullying. This is genuine. I like Lando winning.
Good, because it happens quite often.
Genuinely, you need to stop. I can't do with your energy anymore, bro.
I'm sorry. It's just the chances of you seeing a Ferrari win is just
it isn't impossible. It isn't impossible. Anyway, really good when it came to strategy. I was genuinely impressed with a few teams, but a bit of controversy that did happen this week was, and I will say, it's a bit of controversy on both sides. Williams and Mercedes had it out a little bit. So we saw, as they were going around, for some reason, in one of the corners, Alex was particularly slow. And I mean, by a driver's standard, he shouldn't have been. I understand he was pushing the pack back, and that's kind of what he was there for. He was being a bit of a back marker for Carlos at one point, and he was just pushing the pack back as much as he could do. Understandable, get that, whatever. But by doing so, it was bordering on dangerous. Some of the cars were far too close, because obviously their expectation was you were still going to do this corner in the same way that everyone else will, and he just wasn't. It was the swimming pool. I think you know that one, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I didn't watch this week's, but I do know the track.
So basically Alex went really, really slow. Firstly, George had to cut across, so obviously he completely cut across the track to get in front of Albon, purely based on the fact that it was too dangerous. If he'd slowed down, he couldn't have slowed down fast enough to actually keep up, so he had to go across the track. Then we had the radio message after that, which was basically George being told you need to give the track position back, and him just being like, no, just give me the penalty, I don't care. Like, he genuinely was not interested. I understand where he was coming from, because Albon was being particularly slow, and I don't understand why. Then, I mean, I do understand why, but I also think it's a bit... I just think it's a grey area that FIA need to at some point look at, because he wasn't the only one who did it. Lawson did it for quite a substantial amount of time as well.
Does Max not do that quite often?
Max does it as well. Well, to be honest, Max did it in Monaco. I'll be honest with you, Max was actively trying to help Charles, because he was really pushing Lando and Charles together, and it was like he was trying to be a bit sneaky with it. But either way, that happened, and then literally, I can't remember if it was the next lap or 2 laps later, that Kimi Antonelli did the same thing, because Albon did the same thing. So I do feel like, and the Mercedes were, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Mercedes didn't do well anyway. They didn't do the 2 stop, which obviously, takes away from your points anyway. But they also just didn't seem to be, I don't know whether they just didn't seem to want to do anything in this. They raced really well, they drove really well, but they just weren't, hearts weren't in it in a weird way. So that was a bit of controversy that happened on the Monaco tracks this week. I did really enjoy the fact that the 2-stop strategy made everyone have to think about how they raced, which I really did enjoy seeing. It meant that you did get people who were running on tyres way longer than they should have. You had cars that were literally utilising every step they could. Obviously, we did have a few virtuals, that's normal for Monaco.
Yeah.
But it was genuinely quite exciting to watch, and I do and I understand that a lot of people will say, and It wasn't, and I get it because it isn't your normal standard way of watching F1. There isn't overtakes, there isn't, battles or anything like that. It is purely a minefield of strategy and pit stops and things like that. I genuinely do like that though. I do think it is quite interesting, and it's good to see the teams then. I think Monaco is one of those races that makes it clear that it's not just a driver, it is a team. Yeah. So I always think that's the race for me that the constructors become so visible, because at the end of the day, the other races, it's how fast your driver's going, it's how well he can overtake, it's how well he can do this, blah, blah, blah. In Monaco, it's how well the team behind you are planning your strategy or getting your pit stops in. Ferrari did phenomenally this week with pit stops. I will say they were literally I think below 2 seconds. Yeah. Phenomenal. Ferrari at the minute with pit stops is incredible, so quick. But I genuinely do enjoy Monaco for that reason, because it is interesting. I hate it for other reasons. It's too small. It's not a big enough track for the cars anymore. And I do enjoy a little bit of overtaking here and there. But for the strategy aspect, it is really interesting. However, in saying that, we are now, this weekend, travelling to Carter.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
It is your boyfriend's home country.
Silverstone?
No.
Who?
When I say boyfriend car, I'm not talking Lando Norris. No.
That's Piastri.
No. Who is the one man on that racetrack you always say is a good-looking man?
Charles Leclerc.
No, that's who I say. Who do you say that is a good-looking
Lando
man?
Norris.
No. We're going to Spain, ladies and gentlemen, the hometown of Carlos Sainz. Jesus, Carlos.
Long time ago.
I mean, wow. Anyway, I'm really excited because it's a great track, Spain. So it is going to be a really interesting race. You have, actually, to be fair. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so
it is. I think it is going to be interesting. As I said before Monaco, before Italy, before Imola, I genuinely do think whoever comes out on top for these 3 races is probably going to be the championship winner. And at the minute, we're not seeing it clear enough, because last week was Max, this week was Norris. Whoever comes out, it's going to be so confusing. Yeah. But I really, really want to clarify as well how much I loved seeing Lando happy again. He was smiling, he was thriving, he was living his best life, he was grinning, and I just feel like he's such a great driver for being so open about the struggles that he faces. To see, and I think he's been quite open recently about the fact that he was really struggling, and he was, he did put a lot of pressure on himself. He really did seem to just be in his own element. He was just so good. And I just really think seeing him at the end, seeing him kiss his mum and his dad, I genuinely was like, oh God, I can't. It's so cute. Because he was just, he's one of those drivers that I think for the sport is so important, and I don't think it's kind of what Seb was. I think when Seb was still racing, he was that person to really prioritise the fact that you're a human being besides the fact you're a driver. Yeah. I just love seeing Lando talk about it as much as he does, and I think seeing him happy this week was just, it meant so much. So I will say there was something else to F1 this week. Yeah. Another thing as well, and I do kind of want to circle this because it is something that we were talking about last week as well. MotoGP had its race in Silverstone this week. Yeah. And we had 2 quite bad crashes, one of which was with Marc Marquez. So, obviously, at the minute, championship leader. But they were 2 quite bad crashes. Now, I kind of want to, compare as well. I know when we talk about F1, and obviously most of the time we will be talking about F1, but occasionally I do try and throw in out MotoGP because I am trying to learn about it as much as I can. But I will say, when we are seeing those crashes, it is such a testament to how dangerous both of the sports are. Yeah. And when people say they're not sports, it's just driving, there's a certain listener on today who will be listening to this and being like, it's not a sport. It is a sport. It is a sport. It's motorsport. But it is genuinely and I think, Jesse, you can even get involved in this a little bit. It is genuinely a sport that I do think there's a lot of danger element to it, and a lot of, we do sort of think, oh, it's just such a safe sport now, when reasonably it isn't always a safe sport, guys. Neither of you are really conversing here. The whole point of a podcast, boys, is to chat, and both of you aren't really doing this.
In my defence, in my very short segment, you were both fighting the dog.
I can't help he was fighting me.
Two things. I'm currently obsessed with a show called Arcane. If you guys really do want a good show to watch it, Arcane I'd recommend. So the edits were on my phone. And second is, I believe with F1, I don't watch it. I'm starting to watch it a lot more. But when it comes to the dangers of F1, I truly do think that it is arguably one error going 200 miles an hour, you're pretty much dead. However, I'm almost certain the ways they go through it.
I mean, in a weird way as well, when you do say it like that, I think there has to be an appreciation as well for some of the drivers. All of the drivers anyway, but especially when you've got younger ones like Isaac Hajar and, even people like Yuki and things like that. They are so young, and yet they aren't making mistakes that reasonably should kill them. Like, how impressive is that to a degree that you are able to get in a car that is going 200 miles per hour, going through corners in a way that is far too fast for normal.
I think when it comes to the structure and how it's made, how the racing is formatted and whatnot, it's pretty much like you're not going to send someone in a car that goes that fast who can't drive it. You're not going to make sure you're going to make sure that car is as safe as possible.
Don't get me wrong,
when going
I get that, but at the end of the day, they are still human error is still a thing, and I think there has to be an appreciation that some of these younger drivers are phenomenal behind a wheel. In fact, let's just clarify as well. Isaac Hajar, incredible driver. I did not put him on my list to watch out for, and Jesus Christ, should I have? He is so impressive. Anyway,
one of the most dangerous things on that track is other people.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Human error is a thing.
Max Verstappen.
He really is like a danger to have on the track sometimes.
The thing, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it depends on who. He will race drivers differently. I genuinely do see that constantly. It just depends on who he's racing. And for some reason at the minute, he has it in for your boys.
No, he has it in for Norris.
Well, he has it in for Norris. I don't think he has it in for Piastri in the same way.
Lando's quite nice driver. He's not a reckless driver.
No.
I've seen Verstappen run him off the track twice.
Yeah.
I don't even watch it that much, and I've seen him run off Norris twice.
They're friends. Like, in real life, I don't get why I do it.
Yeah, why put your friend at that risk?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Is that all for you?
That's all, yeah, that's all for me.
So, back in the day, the Romans and the Anglo-Saxons, they used spears.
Why them two groups of people? I know they didn't use spears.
Let me run the script, man. They used spears, yeah? Over time, that has evolved to darts.
Right, okay.
Why did we use spears?
But before we get into darts...
I want to know what he's going to do about football.
I couldn't come up with anything.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I literally couldn't come up with anything, so... I could maybe...
Well, football's over, so we don't have to.
What?
Football's over.
Well, we have got some things we've got to talk about in football. It's only light ones that we've got to brush past.
For those who don't know, back in the day, Anglo-Saxons and Romans would get a lettuce ball.
Yes.
And decide to kick it around in the sandy areas of which they lived. And so forth came the game of football.
The old bicycle kick, obviously bicycles didn't exist back then, was the horsey flick.
Yeah, and it was actually done by Commodus, who was...
Commodus, what a baller, man, what a baller.
Empress of Rome.
Yeah. From what I heard, apparently he got in one... in one Roman League season, he got 37 goals. I heard.
Did he?
Yeah, he was crazy. He was.
Did he make the league then? I didn't know that.
he made the league. The Romans made the football league.
Fair.
But to be honest, in football, it's obviously end of season. The end of season topped off so it's good for some people. I think the big two we've got to talk about. The first one being Tottenham winning the Europa League, first trophy in 17 years, and
well done.
And I gave one of the coldest lines in all of football with Ange Postecoglou. He essentially said in an interview, I don't win things in my first year, I always win things in my second year. And when everyone questioned him and laughed, he went on won the Europa League. It doesn't really stop the fact of how terrible their season has been in the Premier League. However, it's happy to see.
Yeah.
Man United topped off the season horribly. I'm not going to lie. If the owners, I give Amorim the backing and what he needs, I truly think this could be a rebuild.
I thought was there not, is it now confirmed that the rumours were false?
About what?
Was there not rumours that Mourinho was returning?
There was rumours, however, I don't think they should.
Why? I thought you were on board with that.
I just don't think that it's not worth it. I think you got to have a complete rebuild. And I think that's what Amorim's going to do. I think he's going to just wipe that squad out and bring in the players that he wants. And or maybe keep the players who are maybe given a good factor. That's why I don't hope he doesn't sell Fernandes, because Fernandes is a quality player. Højlund probably will go. You've got Garnacho, who is definitely gone. Rashford will most likely... I think Barcelona will probably Rashford up. I just... They have shown interest in him, and to be honest, I don't think he's starting level good for Barcelona, but maybe, maybe sub-level. I've just heard they're interested. But either way, there's a lot of players in that squad who I think are gone next season. I think he's going to do a complete rebuild. I think he's going to get in players he wants. I think he's going to get young players in, and I think what he'll aim for next season is maybe keeping him mid-table to then eventually build up an actually good squad. The Man United rebuild will not take place. The rebuild will start next year, but it will not fully get to where it needs. Yeah, it won't be built.
Do you know why, Jazz? Because I tell you what, Rome was
not built in a day.
It was not. The Romans did not build it.
Speaking of Man United, though, their final day was against Aston Villa. Aston Villa were fighting for a Champions League spot. It was 0-0, and a very controversial VAR decision came in. Was it even VAR? I don't even think it was. Essentially, the ball was passed back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's gone to pick it up, and while picking it up, he dropped it out of his hands. After he dropped it out of the hands, one of the Villa's players has taken it from him and kicked it in the back of the net. Should be a goal.
Yeah.
Now, it is very... Don't get me wrong, I understand on the pitch you won't be able to see it visually that well. However, because it's very close, it's literally... He goes like that, but obviously it bounces. Yeah. He's not got grip of the ball. He has not got grip of that ball, and the player takes advantage, kicks it out, and kicks in the back of the net. However, if I know, don't quote me on this, I think they just waved it off. I don't even think they checked VAR.
What, they just said no, it's not goal?
I think they, from what I will, don't quote me on this to the Sibling Ting Famalams, I don't think they checked VAR. I think it was on-field decision was like a foul.
Yeah.
Which has now Villa made a statement that they came out. They said obviously they can't change it. They are now currently not in the Champions League. That cost them 100 million, I believe it was. I believe it is 100 mil from when you go from, obviously you compete in Europe with Champions League. That is, sorry. So rightfully they weren't happiest about it. However, and to be honest, most Man United fans, a lot of people...
This is a weird thing to say, but say there's a decision that's been made and something like this, whether it's cost them 100 mil to lose from the Champions League.
Yes, yeah.
Can they not sue, is it the FA?
You could certainly make a case up and everything like that, but the issue is, and this is the horrible thing with sports in general, is that on-field decision is the same with England, is the same with I remember against Italy, Saka getting pulled down. A lot of us think it was a red card. You could definitely appeal it afterwards, but what can you do?
Yeah.
The events have happened. Nothing can change the events.
If they feel like they've now lost out on money for that, can they not claim that money? Yeah,
they can't claim the money. They can, of course, make an argument. To be honest, I can't really advise on exactly how it works. However, it sucks because it has happened. Yeah. They can't get Champions League now, and the horrible part about it is a lot of people making the case, but Man United won 2-0, so it doesn't matter. If they had scored then, I think the whole complexion of the game would have changed. The whole way, because then they would have just defended, they wouldn't have to attack. There's so many ways it could have gone, and I think it was very... if I was a Villa fan, I'd be fuming.
Yeah.
I would not be happy because that literally cost them the Champions League. Newcastle lost. meaning if they were to win that game, Villa were to win that game, they would have been would be competing in the Champions League. However, with Villa losing that game, that also gives Newcastle the win to the Champions League.
Right.
So Newcastle fans are happy. It's just, if I was a Villa fan, I would be fuming. I just thought I'd have to bring it up because obviously, another thing, not a very bad topic, but Liverpool celebrations were ruined by one fan. So we have got to mention all prayers, hope and prayers go to the family. I'm not going to touch on that too much. But other than that, in the world of football, I think the big one would be the Villa goal. I think the Tottenham win, and in regards to Liverpool, just prayers to the whole family, and let's hope this doesn't happen again. But let's go to darts. Let's change to darts.
Anglo-Saxons, Rome, Spears, darts.
Spears, yes. To be honest, the way to top up darts currently is we are going to the Premier League final this Thursday. When this is released.
Yeah.
And I don't know the best way to put last week. I think it's very obvious who's going to win the Premier League.
I need to make it clear how happy I am as well that Aspinall won.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Can I just say, when this Premier League season started...
I was a Littler fan.
No, not even that.
Now I'm an Aspinall fan.
When this Premier League season started, everyone was rinsing the fact that Gerwyn Price and Aspinall were in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They were saying the only reason them two people are in the Premier League isn't because of the darts. They're only in it because of their walk-on songs, because what they do outside of the darts and whatnot. Now they're in the finals. Yeah. Both of them are in the finals. So, I mean...
I genuinely
hats
think
off to
it's
them.
so impressive.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely excited. I actually feel like these would be my top. I mean, I might have swapped Humphries out for Bunting because I do think Bunting's more comedy.
We love Bunting, yeah.
But I genuinely am so excited to see these four. Like, these would genuinely, if you would say which four would you want to see, it would be them four.
I'm hoping, I don't really know how the format's going to work out. If to have a guess, it would probably be first versus third, second v fourth, but which would also lead to most likely a Luke final 2 years running. But under the sheer hope that Aspinall or Gezi can perform a massive upset,
yeah,
I would love to. I would love to see a Gezi or Aspinall win. I would love to see an Aspinall win.
I genuinely would love to see an Aspinall win.
If we see Nathan Aspinall win Premier League final now, whether we're there watching it live.
Who's won the Prem? Price must have won the Prem.
Price never won the Prem.
Humphries?
No.
Littler.
Yeah.
Littler won last year.
So last year was Humphries and Littler's debut season, and they both made made it to the final. Yeah, first and second. Yeah.
So I mean, it would be nice to see Humphries get one.
No, I want to see Aspinall.
If you're going to, you know what? I will start before we go more in depth to it. To just get his predictions out of the way. You know what? Let's actually check.
Do you know what I will say? My predictions this week, I'm not even going to make a prediction. My hope is Aspinall. Yeah. I genuinely want to see him win.
So, yeah, it's exactly how I thought. First v third, second v fourth. So, starting the night would be Littler versus Price.
Yeah.
I mean, so you say Littler, but that's the one thing where Littler can't win.
He has before. But I will say it depends on the night, because I've noticed recently, especially watching, if Littler's having a bad night, he has a bad night. And you also,
have you ever noticed when Gezi's having a good night?
He has a good night,
yeah.
So this is the thing, it just depends on who's vibing. So I don't want to bet against... No, I'm going to say Littler.
To be honest, I'll give my want and I'll give my genuinely thought. My genuine thought, just to put it out there, is a Luke final with Littler winning the second year in a row. Littler is just currently five nightly wins. Yeah. If he locks in for one more night, I would go Littler to win it again. That's what I think. What I want to happen is... I would like to see a Price Aspinall final, obvious.
I think it's going to be a Littler Aspinall final.
But I would love to see Aspinall win. I would love it.
I see Aspinall winning.
I think Humphries win. I think Luke final.
Yeah.
And Humphries is going to take the win this time.
It wouldn't shock me.
Is I want Price.
I wouldn't. If I was to list it in my
I would not be
rankings.
upset with either. Aspinall's my number one, but I wouldn't be upset if Price won.
Do you know what it is for me? I'm a big fan of not only the underdog story, but I'm not a fan of repetition.
Yeah.
So if I was to list the one person that I don't want to win the night, would be Littler, just because he's the only person who has won it before. If I was to list the two people who did want to see it, would be Aspinall and Price.
Yeah.
I just seeing Aspinall win would be the big one,
I
but
feel like
also seeing
Aspinall
Price
would be so
win
happy.
would just be Price winning would be entertainment gold.
Yeah.
Aspinall winning would just be heartwarming.
Yeah.
It would be the story.
Imagine the booyah.
The booyah
on
if
the
he
final
wins.
dart throw.
Right. So, to be honest, I think, in my personal opinion, this is. We booked tickets for the final. We were scared we weren't going to see our favourites. Yeah. I think we've shot gold. We have got gold. We have cashed out gold here.
Realistically, we just see Littler win like.
No, but that's still good.
I'm really excited. Like
I won't be. I don't want
nicest
Littler to
way.
win.
All four of them are really lovely, and I wouldn't be upset by any four. I mean, everyone who's played this year has been lovely, but I genuinely wouldn't be upset by any of them. It's just, I think, I feel like this season, watching Aspinall, who's had so much crap said about him in the media and fans and stuff who've said he doesn't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
For him to then go on and win
would be insane.
So beautiful and such a it would be heartwarming, like you said. It would just be one of those things where it's like, yes, seeing Price win would be entertainment gold.
Yeah.
So either way, I think if either of them two win, if Humphries wins, it's again an expectation. If Littler wins, it's an expectation.
You know what? I think
if either of those two win, that would be the best.
I think there's a story behind each person winning.
Yeah.
I think if Littler wins, it's the continued dominance of this young kid in the sport. Yeah. I think if Humphries wins, it's the reminder and the rebuild that I am the best in the world. I am the world number one. I think if Price wins, it's the entertainment factor of Gezi, the big boy Gezi. He's still there. And I think if Aspinall wins, that's the ultimate underdog story of the guy who was never meant to be there coming out and winning the thing. Would be so good. But to be honest, I think darts this year has been spectacular. I think I've grown to love the sport even more, and I loved it already. I was already emotionally connected. I am now spiritually connected.
Wow. Okay.
So, what about you two? Have you grown closer to this lovely sport of darts?
I will say I genuinely enjoy. I mean, I won't say I enjoy. I mean, firstly, I think I've discovered I'm incredibly adept to predicting who wins.
Yes.
All the ones, but I genuinely do think it is such an end. It is. Don't get me wrong. Would I play it? No. Would I choose to watch it as a sport? Probably not. But when I am watching it with you guys, it is genuinely entertaining, and it is nice to see the guys who, are underdogs but genuinely nice people like Aspinall, who just seems like such a lovely guy, and to see him do well, I just love it. So yeah.
Also, in other news as well, just in darts, World Cup of Darts has been announced. A team. Okay. It will be Humphries and Littler.
Yeah.
I
mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it?
I don't really see us losing. I don't really see the England team losing if that is the case. But I just think the darts has become a big sport, and I'm happy. I'm very happy it has. It is a very entertaining sport. Thursday, I'm going to get turned.
Me and Carter are not.
One of you is driving.
Long drive.
Yeah.
So I just think, you know what? May the best man win, and by God, let's hope it's Aspinall. So,
amen.
Amen to that, and amen to the Romans and the Anglo-Saxons. So, without further ado, I lay the curtain down for our announcer to end this session.
I mean, as once was prophesied by the Anglo-Saxons and the Romans, this podcast must come to an end.
Yeah, it must.
For this episode. So we will say ta-ta. We will say farewell. We will say see you next week, because that's what we do every week. We will see you next week. As always, drive safe.
Don't do drugs. Yep.
Drink water.
Drink a lot of water.
Wear your sun cream.
Oh, yeah, that too as well.
Yeah.
Do you want me to hit one with anything else?
No, thank you. It's not yours.
Be careful of any Romans.
Be careful of Romans, be careful of Anglo-Saxons.
Yep.
You know, watch out. You never know.
Make sure if you're biking home at night, wear hivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And most importantly, have a very good evening. Have a very good time. And we will see... Okay, what?
Also, follow us.
Yes.
Otherwise, or everything we just said, just forget about it.
No, that's
just
not.
forget about it, mate.
No, that's not.
No, okay.
No, we don't say
My
that.
apologies.
But please do follow us, and please do comment, and please do send us your thoughts. We are on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and, you know, wherever you're watching, there are comment sections, so let us know your thoughts, your queries, anything, your predictions. Let us know as well if you end up seeing us at the Dots. Like, that would be so amazing.
Bang, just rushes
That would be
up. Big
amazing.
up. That would be amazing.
But yeah, honestly, guys, thank you ever so much for listening, and again, we will see you next week.
Cheerio.
Tatars and farewell.